by Mr. Peter Stidwell.
Hello everyone, I'm Peter Stidwell. I'm Executive Producer at the Learning Games Network in Cambridge, Massachusetts. LGN is a non-profit spin-off of the MIT Education Arcade and the University of Wisconsin-Madison's Games Learning Society program. And we aim to bridge the gap between research and practice in games-based education. Last year we made Quandary, a free online game in which players aged 8 to 14 shape the future of a new society while learning how to deal with ethical issues and dealing with challenging situations in their own lives. So, to kick off, imagine this scenario. It's been alleged, following a leak, that the government of a world superpower has access to detailed records of individual citizens' smartphones and internet traffic on a massive scale, also accessing major tech companies' servers. And one official has leaked this to the public. So the question is, was that the right thing to do? And please do tweet your thoughts for discussion in the back channels. But the point is this: you may have a gut reaction when you first heard this, but of course it makes sense to step back, analyse the problem in a logical way, find out more facts, and consider different perspectives before you form a more informed opinion. And that's exactly what Quandary does. It provides a framework for ethical reasoning without telling players what to think. It lets them practice making choices where there's no clear right or wrong answer, and it lets them see the impact of those choices. So now, you guys probably don't need to be convinced a lot that trying to improve people's ethical thinking skills and reasoning skills is a good thing, or why a game is a good way to do this. A more interesting question, perhaps, is don't some games already do this anyway? And the answer is yes. Some existing games have design elements that engage players in perspective-taking, decision-making, and conflict resolution, which are all foundational skills for moral development. But they do have their limitations in most cases. The big issue with other games that offer such moral choices is that they present an obvious right or wrong, which is not always very challenging for the player, it's not always very interesting, and it's not always very realistic. So some games do a better job of this, and while the choices that are available to those games isn't obvious, it still tends to be binary. So this doesn't reveal any of the messiness involved in many real decision-making processes, which are obviously a lot more complex. So our main kind of design goal was to move beyond the usual binary moral choices. So what did we do to address this? Well, welcome to planet Braxos, home of a new colony of humans 32 light years from Earth. The player is the captain of the colony, and faced with ethical dilemmas that the colony itself can't resolve, the captain must make difficult choices in which there's no clear right or wrong answer, but there are important consequences to yourself, to other colonists, and to the planet itself as well. So our game designers wanted a narrative that was fantastical, but also relatable, and this game will provide a space rife with ethical dilemmas and a diverse set of characters and opinions. There's 3 scenarios in the game at the moment, and in this first scenario, colonists have taken sheep to the planet, and it turns out that some of the lambs are being attacked by a native predator called a yasha, you can see at the bottom middle there. And the herder there wants to kill the yashas, but the hunter and various other people on the colony think that that's not a good idea, and there's various complicating factors to go with this. Your job as captain is to figure out what to do. And in the game, you're guided through a process of finding potential solutions to the problem, sorting fact from opinion, and conversing and understanding other people's points of view. And that's all done through a digital card-based interface. And I'm just going to skip ahead here to the core mechanic in the game to explain, to show you how this works. So you can see that there's various colonists, each have different jobs, they're all different professions, and you can interview and talk to these different colonists. You also have 4 solutions that are available to you, and at this point we've narrowed it down to 2. Those are at the bottom left. So there's the option to build a fence to keep the sheep in, and there's an option to trap the yashas. We also have 4 facts at the bottom there, and I'll come to those in just a moment. So you can see here we're interviewing Guthrie, the herder, and he says if we left out poison, I'd make sure my flock doesn't eat any of it. The yashas wouldn't be so lucky. So I can now apply a different solution and see what Guthrie thinks of this. So if I apply the trap solution, he says trapping the yashas is crazy. We don't know how many are out there or how long it will take to trap them. Poison is the best choice. Now, I mentioned earlier that we had these facts as well, and all of these are complicating factors that heighten the ethical dilemma. So, for instance, on the right-hand side, we see that the information given there is that the yasha's saliva has useful medicinal properties. So, it would be interesting in this scenario to apply that fact to this character and solution combination to see what Guthrie thinks, see whether it might change his mind, because see whether he thinks poisoning is not a good idea given that information. So I can put that in place and you will get a score for that. And you can see here he now says, if the yasha's saliva has medicinal properties, maybe building traps wouldn't be a waste of time. But he actually sticks to his guns in this case and says he still thinks poison is the best choice. So you score points because the fact was relevant, and the idea is that you can't just apply these facts willy-nilly. You have to work out who may be persuaded and who might be persuadable, and where placing a fact is going to give you the most information about this situation. So you really have to step into the shoes of these other characters. So after we've gone through that process for the various characters and understood the situation more deeply, you go forward and choose a solution to put forward, and you must also present arguments for and against. And if you've gone through the process, then you have good arguments for and against in order to choose at this stage. And here's the important bit. There were actually 4 solutions available to you, as I mentioned earlier, and any 4 of these can lead to a mostly positive outcome for the colony. And I say mostly because, like in real life, the game, you can't please everyone. But each of those same 4 solutions can also lead to a mostly negative outcome for the colony as well. So that outcome that you actually get depends on not just the solution you choose, but the process that you went through during the game. So just to reiterate, players who've been through and understood the perspective taking and have found ways to address potential concerns with the solution can go on and receive a positive outcome. But if you haven't demonstrated the critical thinking in the process, then you will receive the negative outcome. So player score and final outcome is indicative of the process, which means in a play situation, 2 players can present the same solution and get difficult outcomes, which leads to debate and conversations, which is exactly what we're looking to achieve in this game, and to encourage player reflection. So Quandary was developed by a team of experts, including experts from institutions such as Tufts University and Harvard, MIT Education Arcade. We worked with over 100 kids during the development process, and our great development partner, Fable Vision, some of whom I think are here today as well, so thanks to those. But none of this kind of process should come as a surprise. The thing that I wanted to share that was interesting from our playtesting was that, and something we had to sort to remedy to some degree, was that kids are obviously conditioned in games like this to think that there is one right answer and or optimal answer. So that was something that we had to address through trying to encourage replayability of the game and to promote discussion and just altering the messaging so that they realised that there was something deeper going on within the game, and we think we've done that to a good degree. So what's next for Quandary? Well, we're developing a tablet version at the moment. It's web-based only, and we're translating into Spanish. We're doing a number of teacher tweaks, including allowing whole class registrations to help the teachers quickly get kids into the game. But most important of all, and exciting, is we're developing a user-generated content portion of the game, where we're trying to crowdsource at least the beginnings of a 4th episode. So this really takes the perspective-taking part one step further, and we're pretty excited about this. So kids get to create their own characters visually, and then put in a name, a job title, and actually go through the process that we did as game designers to come up with appropriate solutions, facts, and opinions. And they submit those, they get moderated, and then they get crowdsourced into a cut-down mini version of the game. So we're really excited and intrigued as to see how that's going. We're doing playtesting at the moment, and hopefully in September of this year, this new phase will be up there and be running a competition in order to crowdsource that 4th episode. So that's Quandary. I do encourage you to go to the website and take the time to play through the game. Send any comments or feedback to the various emails or Twitter's handles on the screen. And thank you very much for listening.